Peter?
Ready.
2 seconds to
Just made it.
fast. But you're here. It's on the dot, Tim. It's atomic time. Okay. I'd like to call the, what day are we here? The June 12th, 2025 Southampton Town Board Public Hearing, Southampton Town Planning Board Public Hearing to order. May we have a roll call, please?
Chair LaFaro.
Present?
Vice Chair Finnerty. Secretary is here. Board Member Mutu is absent. Board Member Neely.
Present.
Board Member Fulham.
Present.
Board Member Glazer.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Great, thank you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Just some safety notes. In case of an emergency, there are 2 doors in this room. Exit that, go down the stairs, and out the front door, and you should be fine. Dennis, you're going to read the second.
Second.
Yeah. So our first application is Hampton's Collective, and do we have notice, sufficient notice? Thank you. Tom, can you read it into the record, please?
Sure. Please take notice that in accordance with local law number 14 of 2022, a public hearing will be held by the Southampton Town Planning Board on Thursday, June 12th, 2025 at 6 p.m. at Town Hall, 116 Hampton Road, Southampton, and via video conferencing to consider the site plan special exception application entitled the Hamptons Collective. The application proposes to convert 2,600 square feet of existing retail space into a retail cannabis dispensary, as well as to close out the existing expired site plan on a 2.079 acre property situated in the Highway Business Zoning District and Agricultural Overlay District located at 257 County Road 39A, North Sea, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-132-2-25.1.
Applicant David Gilmore, Greenberg, Troy, 2317 Montauk Highway, Bridgehampton. As legal advertisement indicates, the property is located at 257 County Road 39A, which is 2 lots east of the North Main and County Road 39 intersection, just outside of Southampton Village, which is over here, you see it oriented. Again, the property is 2 acres in size and is located in each zoning district, so the dispensary is a special exception use, and that's part of the application tonight. The second part of the application is to legalize a couple of structures that were refurbished in and around 2017. And they did get a CO during that process, but as Anthony and I had researched the property, we didn't find where this board had approved it. And those 2 structures are here. It's a frame garage. And looking at the prior site plan, there was a storage building, there was a shed, and 3 truck bodies that had been approved before. I think that's a significant improvement. The other was this structure was 2 sheds that were merged into a new shed. So we're trying to legalize those 2 structures, and then we're looking for a special exception approval for the dispensary use. We have submitted a petition which we believe satisfies all of the requirements of both the general standards and the special conditions and safeguards. And that's basically the plan. The dispensary will be located here. This will be the storage, and then that's the retail area. There's another proposed storage area that's associated with the existing use, which is a
guess the best way to describe it is a furniture use, or they refurbish like old pinball machines, and they have an eclectic mix of furniture, and there's a lot of storage on the property, and that use requires that storage. You might remember this property, Dennis, I'm certain, would remember, as Frankenbach's Garden Center, and then it became Meacock's
Meacock's Gardens, right? Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
then-
you're only occupying a portion of it.
Yes, these two structures right here. We did go to Suffolk County DPW, and what you see with the entrance, and then this is limited to an exit only, is the ultimate decision of the DPW. We have our engineer and our traffic engineer, Matt Aylward and Keenan Cody, who can talk to that if the board's interested, but we've been through that process with them. They designed the entrance and the exit. The only other issue that I think it's necessary to bring up, and something that as we go through this process that we need to consider, is there's a nightclub located next door. And we've had a lot of difficulty with people coming from the nightclub and trying to park on this property. So there are some security measures that we'd like to take on a going forward basis to see if we can prevent that. We've had some vandalism and that type of thing. So that's one of the things to keep in mind. And it really, I think, will have an impact, and we need to have a discussion about a cross-access to that property, because that will open it wide open to people parking on the property, causing
Okay.
mischief.
Good to note.
The other, I think, major factor is the setback from the residential properties here. There's a 100-foot required setback. The dispensary here I measured is about 350 feet, so about 3.5 times what the requirement in the code is. And with that, I will conclude and answer any questions. We have our engineers here. We have a couple of the owners, Matt and Ben, are here tonight, so
Okay.
we can
Any
answer any
questions from
questions.
the board?
The entrance and exit, could you just real quickly go over the entrance and exits, how that's going to work?
I'll get an expert up here, so you don't have to listen to a lawyer.
As Matthew Aylward, R&M Engineering, Site Civil Engineer. As Mr. Gilmartin said, the easternmost access will be a full maneuver, right? Right-ins, left turns out, right turns out, and left turns in. Okay, the westbound exit is limited only to exit only, and that's a right turn only, right out only. That was westbound, correct. That was what we discussed with the DPW, and this is exactly what they requested we do, in addition to sidewalk and new curbing along the site frontage.
Okay, so they approved it and DPW approved it. Right.
DPW, right, so we filed with the DPW. We're going through that process of approval, but in a meeting that we had, this was exactly explained to us how they wanted it. So what's reflected here is what they told us to do.
And you have the center turn lane in that section of 39.
That's correct, dual turn lane.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions before I open it up? Is there anyone that wishes to speak to the application who's here? Eileen McWilliams, is that?
Hi,
Give
good
us your-
evening.
give
I
us your
am
name.
Eileen McWilliams, and this is my husband, James. And we really only recently received the notice of the public hearing, so we really haven't had a chance to digest as much as we hoped we could. So I respectfully ask if we can keep this open so that we can have a chance to explore more. And I'd really like to submit something in writing that's going to be more eloquent than my
You'll have
speech
a few-
tonight.
You'll have a few days to
Okay.
do that, yeah.
Okay. So I apologize if I'm rambling. I get nervous and I ramble. But since I'm here, I would like to express some concerns and some comments related to this application. A little bit of background here. James and I live at 8 Newberry Lane. That is the property that David was just talking about, is our whole entire backyard.
We share that border.
Our entire backyard. We are local. James actually just received his 40-year service award for Southampton Fire Department. He's lived there for 35 years, raised his 2 kids there. I've lived there for the past 23 years, and I work locally. I work for Squires and Holden Surveyors. We're year-round residents, and we actually are blessed that our 3 young granddaughters live locally, and we spend a lot of time there. And as you mentioned about the Frankenbach property, James was in the Frankenbach family and acquired this property when the Frankenbachs subdivided, and he was part of the family business. So it was a whole family shebang for a little while there, actually a long while. I was able to do a little bit of reading with the code. I'm not an expert, but there were just a couple things that jumped out at me that were a little bit concerning. They used the word community facility. There are certain setbacks, and I just remember when his kids were little, they used to do karate at a facility that's right next to the subject property. And I believe it's still there. I think it's just under a fancier name like jiu-jitsu or something, but there's swimming, and it's right there. And I just want to make the board aware in case the distance is in fact a conflict. Also, I tried to look to see if I could find any other applications that showed a dispensary abutting a residential lot, and I couldn't find one. So I do beg that you consider this application differently than an application that abuts a dispensary to either business or commercial. I did receive the packet that received that had a site plan, but it was very small. I wasn't sure if it was to scale, but I did notice that there was minimal, in my surveying world, I call it setbacks. I think they called it traditional yards. David mentioned the 100 feet. And I would like to request that if you do in fact go forward with a special exception use, a minimum of double that. And I would really like landscape and fencing, just that there's just such a serious impact that it could have on our property that I don't think it's unreasonable. And there's also a lot of space. It's really not asking a lot, I don't think. Also, I didn't have a chance to take a look at the traffic study. I noticed that that was a requirement in the code. And so I wondered if I could spend a little bit more time. That's part of what I wanted to look at, was to see if there was an impact related to traffic. And my final concern, I don't want to sound like I'm being dramatic, but it is a quality of life issue. Right now, we're dealing with the Capri, which has already been mentioned. The Capri is zoned as a motel with a pool, but for whatever reason, it is allowed to operate as a raging nightclub, Fridays and Saturday nights in the summer for all hours of the night. So right now, we've spoken to the town, and they're very sympathetic.
Every Friday and Saturday.
But nobody's done anything. So I know this isn't the right venue to talk about that, but I think I just wanted you to understand, right now we're already dealing with a nuisance, and this new proposal is going to add a second nuisance to our property and our quality of life. So I would really invite you to come to Newberry Lane. It's 1 block from the busy, crowded, horrible County Road 39, yet it's quiet, it's quaint, it's residential, and we really just want to keep it that way. That's all we're asking. I think I've said enough. Sorry if I rambled.
Okay, no,
Thank
you
you
made-
so
you-
much for
You
listening.
made all your points, and they'll
And-
certainly be taken into consideration.
Thank you.
Just
Appreciate
know
your
that these
consideration.
facilities are highly regulated by the state, highly regulated. So
The hours are limited also.
hours are
Sorry?
limited, security, yeah. I think taking your concerns into consideration.
Thank
So
you.
write it up in a letter and get it to us, okay?
I sure will.
Thanks so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Anyone on Zoom?
No one on Zoom.
Okay, so I make a motion to close with a 10-day written comment period. Motion by Dennis, second by Tom. All in favor? Opposed, abstentions? 6 in favor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we're moving on to David Goodman. We have sufficient notice?
Madam Chair.
Thank you. Dennis, you want to read?
Very good. Please take notice that in accordance with local law 14/2022, a public hearing will be held by the Southampton Town Planning Board on Thursday, June 12th, 2025 at 6 p.m. Town Hall, 116 Hampton Road, Southampton, via video conferencing to consider the pre-application entitled David Goodman. The project considers action on a 1.34 acre property currently approved with one two-family dwelling and accessory structures situated in the R20 zoning district, New York State archaeologically sensitive areas, located at 181 Bridgehampton Sag Harbor Turnpike, Bridgehampton tax map number 971-2-2.1.
Terrific. Lori Wiltshire for Land Planning Services, representing David Goodman, who is here. Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Anyhow, the application before you is for a density incentive subdivision, where an existing two-family residence will remain affordable housing, and 2 new lots will be created to the rear of the parcel. The location is ideal for affordable housing, as it is within easy walking distance to Bridgehampton Village, the Bridgehampton School, and public transportation. The parcel was originally 2 lots that merged as a matter of zoning in 1985. The property currently yields 2 lots, but the density incentive for a subdivision with affordable housing is 50% or 1 additional lot for a total of 3. The parcel is a perfect candidate for density incentive subdivision consideration. The 2 additional lots will each be approximately half an acre and compatible with the surrounding land uses. The proposed subdivision will not adversely affect the environment, as IAOWTS septic systems are proposed for all 3 lots. And this will be consistent with the town's comprehensive plan. The project also meets the standards of Section 330(9)(d)(1)(a) through C regarding the need for affordable housing in Bridgehampton. The character of the community will not be negatively impacted by the increased density, and existing public resources are adequate. The property has a pre-existing certificate of occupancy issued in 1986, following a submission of many affidavits attesting to the fact that this had always been a 2-family dwelling. There's also a detached 2-car garage and 2 sheds. The garage will be demolished and the shed relocated. Because the existing 2-family residence will become part of the town's affordable housing inventory, TDRs are not required from the town. We think the health department will require 1.5 credits, as the property is in the groundwater management zone 5. However, an application is currently pending with the health department, and we have just recently received the plans for the existing house and the square footage for each of the apartments within the house, which will factor into the health department's ultimate density equation. So we will be getting back to you with those numbers once we go back to the health department, but we're not going to go back to the health department until we have received the summary of this meeting, any conditions and map revisions that need to be made on your request, get those done first, and then go back to the health department and come back to you comprehensively at the same time with the same map.
Great. So I have a question about, because I know the property well, I live just up the road. You're going to take the garage down, so that will be your driveway in.
Correct.
And it's a very busy road.
Correct.
Super busy road, so there you have just one access point.
One access point, and the DPW has already, county DPW has already weighed in.
Good.
And they want to see 20 feet of asphalt here, so that there's no gravel grinding when someone tries to pull out onto the busy road.
Okay, good. That was my concern. Any other questions from the board?
So there'll be a total of 3 dwelling units?
3 buildings.
2 houses and 1 multifamily, which the town housing authority has expressed an interest in purchasing and maintaining as perpetual affordable housing.
Okay, so total of 4 dwelling units.
4 units,
4
that's
units,
correct.
okay.
But they're small. One's like 700 square feet, one's like 1,200 square feet.
Okay.
So there are like 2 apartments in the main house, the old house in the front, and then 2 new units in the back.
That's correct,
Yeah.
2 new homes in the back.
Right.
Yeah, these are small apartments. They both have 1 bedroom upstairs, living room, but each have a kitchen. I don't have the total square footage here. Oh, yes, I do. Unit 1 is, the first floor is 487, the second floor is 352. So that's about 900 square feet. And unit 2 is 440 and 273, so about 700 square feet. So they're small, rentable, and definitely accessible for the area and the need in Bridgehampton.
And the 2 rear lots will be market rate?
There'll be what?
The 2 rear lots will be market rate?
Market,
Right.
that's correct.
Right, okay.
Okay. It's archaeologically sensitive area, so you'll have to do your review on that.
I believe we submitted that already. Oh, you mean doing a phase one?
We'll do it in pre-app report.
Okay.
Any other questions? Anyone wishes to speak to this application?
David, do you have anything you want to add? Okay.
Anyone on Zoom? Peter?
No one. No one.
Okay, so we'll entertain a motion to close with a 10-day written comment period. Motion by Kate, second by Gloria, and all in favor. Opposed, abstentions, 6 in favor. Thank you.
We'll look forward to seeing the resolution. Thank you.
Good, thank you. And finally, we're at Brown Buddha, New York. And Gloria, do we have notice?
You do,
We
Madam
do.
Chair.
You want to read that into the record?
Please take notice that in accordance with local law number 14 of 2022, a public hearing will be held by the Southampton Town Planning Board on Thursday, June 12, 2025, at 6 p.m. at Town Hall, 116 Hampton Road, Southampton, and via video conferencing to consider the site plan special exception application entitled Brown Buddha, New York. The application proposes the conversion of the existing 4,200 square foot warehouse special trade contract to contractor building into a retail cannabis dispensary on a .873 acre property located in the Highway Business HB at 1533 County Road 39, Tuckahoe, Southampton tax map number 900-177-4-4.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board. Brian Locasso, the Adam Miller Group, attorney for the applicant. As stated, we're here for 1533 County Road 39, Southampton, New York. It's located within the Highway Business District. We're here seeking site plan and special exception permit for a non-medical cannabis retail dispensary. The site before you, in its current layout, has already received site plan approval from this town. So while there were some elements that came up in the pre-conference report, which you've addressed, this really truly is a special exception application in my eyes. The site meets all of the required setbacks from all the designated areas and uses within the town code and the state code. A traffic study concluded that there would actually be a decrease in the amount of traffic that this site will result in. And further to that point, the applicant's business model is actually focused on a delivery first approach, so it will further reduce the amount of traffic on the site, but we will have on-site retail availability. The property already benefits from adequate parking, which we are retaining, and we have added 2 additional parking spaces for the delivery vehicles within the rear garage bays of the building. A walkway has been proposed along the east side of the property to provide for a safe pedestrian flow. It will have dark sky compliant lighting for the evening hours. The existing sign on site has already been approved as part of the site plan. Any signage on there will of course comply with town and state regulations. We received a negative deck as our seeker review. The property already contains mature screening, which was implemented as part of the prior site plan, has thrived over the years and will remain and be maintained. There is established cross access already on the site, with the access to the west actually open. The east has not been opened yet, but there is a recorded document establishing a cross access here. This is currently with a gate, so it's available and appears to be used from time to time. Otherwise, I'm here to answer any questions you have. We have been in touch with the Suffolk County DPW, and they have requested a sidewalk along the front of the property, and we're in the process. Rainer Group is designing that, and in the application process of getting an application, we submitted a plan to your office earlier this week, maybe showing a typical sidewalk of what we're proposing. It's actually going to be on the county property, but there will be a sidewalk component of this. Otherwise, I think I've submitted the petition showing how we meet all the criteria of the special exception uses.
Okay, we've seen this before, so.
Yes.
Are there any questions from the board? Is there anyone, and there's no one here, so is there anyone on Zoom, Peter?
No one.
No one on Zoom, so we'll entertain a written comment period of 10 days to close the hearing.
Motion.
Motion by Dennis, second by Gloria, and all in favor. Opposed, abstentions? 6 in favor. Thank you.
Great
Motion
night.
to adjourn by Dennis, second by Gloria, and all in favor. Opposed, abstentions? 6 in favor. We are adjourned. Turn off